wrestling fans. Today is Thursday, November 23rd, 2023. Lance Brock here, back again today already, in case you've missed it. Today in America is Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving to everyone else. Here in the United States, I know in Canada, they do Thanksgiving in October, actually, so happy Thanksgiving, everyone. And first of all, I know I've been doing this a lot lately on all of the podcasts, been making an apology at the beginning of the episode, and today is no different. When I was just getting ready to upload the Thanksgiving episode today, normally every week, and so far I haven't missed an episode yet since I started the podcast. Anything goes. New episodes drop Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern, right here, wherever you listen to 360 Wrestling Podcast at. Right 4 o'clock, but for some reason today I went and messed up and I forgot to schedule it for 4 o'clock since breaking kayfabe here. I talked about this on 360 Wrestling Fanatic last night, and all week I was lazy and I waited to the last minute again to decide what I wanted to talk about, like I have been doing the last few weeks. And then finally last night, after I did 360 Wrestling Fanatic talking about AEW Dynamite, I finally decided I've been wanting to talk about Christmas stuff lately, different Christmas things, so I'll talk about the Grinch movie, the one with Jim Carrey, the classic half-hour cartoon, and I went and forgot to schedule it for 4 o'clock, so that episode of 360 Anything Goes is now available right here on Spreaker, YouTube, or whichever podcast you listen to 360 Wrestling Podcast on, and listen to how excited that dog is about it. I'm sure he's already got it downloaded on Apple Podcasts or whichever podcast catcher or podcatcher, is that what the kids call it these days, listen to their podcasts on. And on this Thanksgiving episode of Good Morning Wrestling Fans, or Anything Goes, see, I don't even know what podcast I am on, and Good Morning Wrestling Fans, yes. And on this episode of Anything Goes, I wanted to talk about the AEW Continental Classic Tournament, which is now underway. We had the selection show on Dynamite last night, and I really hope that I can explain this right. So I actually couldn't think of what they were calling them last night on the podcast, but they are into groups. And like I said, this is pretty much almost AEW's version of the G1 Climax Tournament, and we'll wrap up at World's End on pay-per-view. So we have the Blue Group, and we have the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, Andrade El Idolo, honoring the House of Black, Brody King, from the Blackpool Combat Club, Claudio Castagnoli, Daniel Garcia, and the man who will be putting the Ring of Honor or NJPW Strong Openweight Championship and the Ring of Honor Championship on the line in all of his matches, Eddie Kingston. And we have the Gold Group, which is Jon Moxley, Swerve Strickland, Roosh, Mark Briscoe, Jay Lethal, and Switchblade Jay White. And also last night, I don't think I really mentioned this on the recap, but regarding the tournament, this Continental Classic, we saw a name change. Luchasaurus is now Killswitch, and looked like he finally has had enough of Christian Cage. And then he was about to deliver a concerto to Karen Jarrett. I was just listening to her on the AEW Unrestricted podcast. That's why she's in my head right now. But to the mother of Darby Allin, he was about to hit with a concerto. And I'm guessing that as of last night anyway, we had Gold Group matches on Collision, and then I'm guessing maybe the Blue Group is kind of going to be reserved for the matches that are on Rampage. And in case you missed it last night, Rampage is actually going to be on Saturday night this week, 7 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. AEW Saturday Collision. So that's kind of a good news, bad news situation there. Good news is only have one show to watch Saturday night. We only have SmackDown and Rampage, but then that means it's going to be another late night. And I know I said this last week, but I really want to try to do the usual premium live event episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. One good thing, I guess, is luckily that Paul Levesque, Triple H's, his media scrums or press conferences, whatever you want to call them, after the show, usually don't go quite as late as Tony Khan's. So maybe I can save up enough energy and have enough strength to stay up and watch both Survivor Series and Rampage and SmackDown and not be tired at all, and just hurry up, get through the podcast, bing, bang, boom, hit it out of the park, and talk about both shows, which hopefully we will have 2 hours or more, I should say. You know it's going to be more than 3 hours, but what I'm trying to say is hopefully we will have a good night of pro wrestling action this Saturday night between the WWE Survivor Series, my Thanksgiving tradition, which I talked about on Anything Goes, and also AEW Rampage and AEW Saturday Collision, which I have to admit, last week when Collision was on Friday, I'm not actually saying that I was disappointed or anything, but I kind of did expect a remixed version of the theme song. Elton John's Saturday Night's Alright for Fighting. I actually thought that they might put like a remixed version on there, or maybe just not play the intro at all, but instead they went with the normal intro. Saturday night's alright for fighting. I just thought since one night only, it's on a Friday night, so maybe we'll change up the intro a little bit just for one night. But that's all for this episode of 360 Good Morning Wrestling fans. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Remember, right here in America, Thanksgiving and this Monday, I will start bell ringing for the Salvation Army. So if you're here in the Taylor, Michigan area, at the Taylor Walmart, by there Mondays and Tuesdays, 12 to 4, I believe. I'll have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure it's 12 to 4. So you'll probably see me there if you're in the area. Ringing the bell. This will be my 5th year, so come help out. It's a good cause. And hope to see some listeners of 360 Wrestling Podcast there. But until tomorrow morning for the Friday episode of Good Morning Wrestling fans, have a great pro wrestling day.